Okay, this starts our lessons on sport nutrition, and we hope that the online and YouTube lessons will be of good help for all of you that are willing to understand more what's behind nutrition and why nutritionists used a, for example, one type of diet or another. On this online course and this course, actually, this teachings lesson that you will find online, you will get obviously the basics on nutrition and sport nutrition, and you will not receive too advanced biochemical responses because I think is not appropriate on YouTube, and especially because the public that are interested on basic nutrition or sport nutrition might not be ready to understand the biochemical process. During the explanation, I will try to be as clear as possible and as simple as possible. But first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Mark Zanetti. I am a biologist, nutritionist, and pharmacologist. I've been working with athletes in the past 20 years, and I help people to organize their diet, their nutrition in relation to the sport activity that they do, and also I help normal people to change their behavior and make their life a little bit better by introducing nutritional tips that might help to lengthen their life and live longer, and maybe include with good nutritional habit also some sport activity that is the basic to be healthy. Actually, I'm telling you that to be healthy, a body needs to be active, and it's more important the activity that your body does than the food that you intake. So you can be overweight, but being active, you might be more fitness than somebody else who has a very good nutrition but is not active. Actually, the body was made for activity. So make sure that you do some activities daily. Not necessarily very high intensity activity if you are not a sport professional, but you do some activity, and then you can add to that a very good nutrition. Obviously, good nutrition or basic are essentials for everyone. So nutrition, what is nutrition? What does a nutritionist do? And when you do a study on nutrition, what your expectation should be? Well, basically, nutrition and the science behind nutrition studies food. And food is everything that you introduce in your mouth. It could be a supplement, but could be also food. It could be a simple food. Could be an element. And generally, this food is obviously going to your mouth, going inside your body. In your body is digested, and the digestion is helpful because it cannot be absorbed like that way, but it needs to be broken down into simple elements. In that way, it can be absorbed and go into the bloodstream, and then it reaches your cells. So basically, your body introduces foods, and then this food is broken down to simple elements that can be absorbed. They gets into your cells, and inside your cells, these elements produce energy. Uh, Obviously, the energy produced by this element can be used by your body to increase, for example, the body temperature, but also, for example, to produce ATP, that is the chemical energy used by all your cells. And when the food is broken down to simple element, this element can also be used by your body to build your body. For example, muscles, tissues, lining, vessels, brain cells, or all sorts of cells. So basically, you eat foods. This food is broken down into single elements that are absorbed, and then when they reach your cells, they produce either energy, and this energy is utilized to produce ATP or to increase the body temperature. And this element can be used also to build new tissues because we have a continued turnover of tissues. When we talk about energy, we also speak about calorie. What is a calorie? Well, there is a chemical definition of calorie, and is the energy necessary to increase of 1 Celsius degree from 14.5 to 15.1 gram of water. But generally, when we talk about food, we talk about kilocalorie or kilojoule. Right now, we are more on using kilojoule than kilocalorie. Generally, kilocalorie is 1,000 calorie. It is the calorie, the energy necessary to increase of 1 degree Celsius, 1 kilogram of water. So when we discuss about diet and nutrition, the topic of calories always come up because every food that we eat has a certain amount of calories. We know, for example, if you eat a pizza, you might introduce 1,000 calories. If you eat a chicken breast, you just introduce 200 calories. So there is a difference. So a calorie is, of course, an important tool that can be used by nutritionists in order to understand how much food is introduced when you program a diet for a person. But remember, diet and calories sometimes disagree. So you don't have to base your idea on diet only on calories, but on distribution of food. And you can, for example, eat 3,000 kilocalories one day, but not save any of those kilocalories, because those kilocalories are coming from the right kind of food. But you can eat 3,000 kilocalories from the wrong foods, and then you get the bad side of nutrition. So you start gaining weight and losing health. So diet and calories disagrees because the calorie is a term and a chemical definition that is used to understand how much food we introduce. But remember that when we program a diet, we should not base our program on calories alone, but on percentage and on distribution. But you will understand that going on this course. As I said before, the basic energy source of your cell is the ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. As you can see, ATP is the only chemical weapon that can be used by your cell in order to live. And when it produces energy, ATP is converted to ADP and phosphate, and then AMP and phosphate. So DTM stands for mono D or tree, so the number of phosphate attached to adenosine. So every time one phosphate is delivered, we have energy that can be used by your body. Our body produces ATP from food, as we said before, especially at the end of the biochemical process, the oxidative chain in the mitochondrial organ. Our body produces these ATPs. So proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates, they are all ending in the mitochondrial organ in order to produce ATP. So every ATP that is produced in our body is produced in mitochondria, but not just that, also in the cytoplasm, because there are other processes besides the Krebs cycle and the oxidative process that happens in, for example, in other little organs inside your cell that are in the cytoplasm of the cell. For example, the glycolysis, they produce less ATP, but they still produce ATP. But anyway, I don't want to get too much inside the biochemical process. Just want to make you understand that from basic food sources like protein, lipids, and carbohydrates, our body produces ATP that can be used by our cells. And then in your muscles, remember, because this is a course on sport nutrition, that your body produces also ATP in emergency when the oxygen is not available And when your mitochondria inside your muscle cells cannot produce ATP on a regular basis from glucose or from fatty acids, they can use a reservoir of phosphate. It is called creatine phosphate. Creatine is introduced with food or synthesized by our body, and then is combined inside your muscle cells in creatine phosphate, and then is used in order to add to ADP that's coming from other process during the production of energy to produce more ATP. So if we do have time, if our cells have time to produce ATP from other sources, we do so. What do I mean when I say if we do have time? When we are at rest, we are not on a muscular activity. But otherwise, for example, for explosive action, when the oxygen is no more available, we are at the end of our exercise program, we can use also the CP system. Remember, our body continually produces ATP from different cycles or from CP. There is a never ending of production of ATP, especially in your muscles. The production of ATP stops when we die, and when we die, we stop the production of ATP also in muscles, and our muscles remains contract. That's why dead people, have their muscle not relaxed, especially at the beginning, the first hours, because the ATP is no more available in order to disconnect actin and myosin. So this ends the first lesson on sport nutrition course. We will move on to the second lesson, and we will discuss the basic molecule contained in foods, organic molecule that are protein, lipids, and glucosides.